And now I would like to pass the floor to Mrs. Lola Velarde, Executive Director of the Political Network for Values, which is an international organization that gathers politicians, members of parliaments of more than 40 countries from whole of the world. And Lola Velarde, at the same time, is director for the United Nations of the Institute for Family Policy in New York, and is very much engaged in promoting the idea of Geneva Consensus Declaration among the countries of whole our globe. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, dear friends from the Intermarium region. First of all, I would like to thank Ordo Iuris for organizing this important event in support of the Geneva Consensus Declaration, which I am honored to co-organize in behalf of the Political Network for Values, which is a global platform of legislators and political representatives committed to the protection of human dignity, fundamental freedoms, and the common good. Our networks, summits, and webinars and events have brought together over 300 congressmen and women, members of Senate, members of European Parliament, high-ranking government officials and local administration representatives from more than 40 countries, in close cooperation always with civil society leaders and members of the academia. Let me tell you that I started attending and participating in conferences and events in the United Nations since the year 2004, 2005, 17 years ago. And I have been able to witness the increasing pressure on countries to assume radical ideological proposals which were far from their people's deepest values. I could see how the United Nations agencies used apparently neutral words such as gender equality or reproductive health and rights that later on revealed their true significance. Terms that have been used as Trojan horses, I may say, aimed at fostering abortion, gender ideology, and a radical sexual education agenda, and that now are introduced in hundreds of soft law instruments, both in the international organizations like the United Nations, European institutions, and so on. These pressures are overstepping the mandate received by the member states, received from the member states, and they're reaching unacceptable extremes. An example of this has been the recent consultation by the UN Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity so-called independent expert aimed at preparing a blacklist of political, civic, and religious leaders who oppose gender ideology. He's preparing a report that will be presented in the Human Rights Council in Geneva in June. So we are reaching a political momentum that claims for our commitment in order to stand together for the values we share, which are rooted on our Judeo-Christian tradition. And the Geneva Consensus Declaration represents a powerful instrument to unite our strengths in support of women, in support of life, in support of family, and respecting national sovereignty. The people of the Central Eastern European countries share these fundamental values, and they are helping the rest of Europe in promoting and standing strong for them. These values are not a matter of ideological discussion. This is about defending the most vulnerable and supporting our deepest values, which are essential to create the fabric of a free society. Let me thank Valerie Huber, who was also part of this event, for her leadership in the creation of the Geneva Consensus Declaration, which is currently supported by, well, it has been supported by 35 countries. Now that the US withdraw their support, these are 34 countries, and which is hopefully growing bigger with the support of your governments and also eventually the support of political parties, civil organizations, local administrations, and other intermediate entities. And I'd also like to thank Angela Granda and her government from Brazil for taking the lead in promoting this declaration. And also Hungary, who was the first European signatory. And I think the role of Poland in making this important bridge towards the Intermarium region. And I would like to encourage you all to join this declaration because your role, as I mentioned, is essential to maintain and support these values worldwide. And I myself and all the team of the Political Network for Values, we are at your service. For any support you may need, please feel free to visit our website, politicalnetworkforvalues.org, which is in English and Spanish. And there you have our contact details, and we will be more than happy to help supporting this wonderful initiative in favor of women, life, family, and national freedom. And thank you very much.